Hello and welcome to another episode of the MVC Youth Podcast, and it's actually the final one.
Woo! Well, no, not final, not final. I'm sure a lot of people are celebrating about it being the final one, but no, it is the season finale.
That's right.
We're coming back, season 2. It's been renewed. Thank you to the broadcasting station for giving us a second season.
Love you guys.
No, we got some really cool things in store, actually. Season 2 coming up. It's going to be exciting. And in the meantime, in between, we're going to have a lot of time to, I guess, reflect and think of new ways to reach out to the community. Because, there actually is starting to be some level of community around this podcast, which has been really awesome.
Yeah, and we're going to think about the set, the equipment, things like that as well. So you'll hopefully see some improvements in the next season.
How we can make it better for you, the viewer.
That's right.
So, seeing as we're kind of wrapping it up, what were some of your favorite moments of the season? Of season 1?
I'm having all these flashbacks. We had quite a few guests, which I really enjoyed. I liked Joel Slade's, if this is a word, applicability. I think that's a word, of what he had to share. I really enjoyed our conversation around the loving others and wanting them to improve. I really like that one. So I think those, and to come to think of it, Mark's was really informative with House Church and all that. They were all really good, to be honest. So if you're looking for something to listen to,
listen to every single episode is what Paul's trying to tell you, and basically. I would agree.
What about you?
I really enjoyed the podcast with Joel. Like you said, I really enjoyed how genuine and how that was the first one. That was our third episode. I'm pretty sure, but it was the first one where I felt super comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I started feeling like, okay, like this is how the podcast is going to run. This is how it should be. Like everything is just kind of working. Yeah. But as well as the topic that we had, I feel like that was a super relevant conversation to have for us. And it was a super relevant, just kind of thing for all Christians, really. And then as me as well, being like a young leader. Yeah. And like, Joel was the guy to have it with. Joel is, the youth leader of SA. What is it? The official title? The youth ministry director?
I think so.
Something like that. Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah. We've also had some really cool. I would say it was really cool. Like I've personally had some really cool conversations with people as well about it behind the scenes. People have come up and had a chat to me about their thoughts on it. I would really like it if people. Not that I don't appreciate having chats face to face, but I also want to hear your thoughts in person, but I also want to see it in the comments section. Yeah, we're not seeing as much as we'd like to. But no, don't take it as we're attacking you.
No, I agree. I agree with you with the whole coming in early. The first 2 or 3 episodes, we're kind of just finding our feet. Feeling it out and just jumping right in without that much experience beforehand. We didn't practice or anything. We just jumped in. So that was a bit of a learning curve and getting used to things. But it's been awesome. I really enjoyed it.
I've really enjoyed it. I mean, of course, there's going to be a little some hiccups and stuff like that. But I mean, overall, I think it's been really awesome. And going back to kind of the conversations I've had with people, it has led to some really, for privacy's sake, I won't give any details, but it's really opened or given me the opportunity to see God work in people's lives, or even to go as far as saying they've spoken to me and they've just been I've been struggling with this for a long time, or I've been trying to ponder on this and I've been wrestling with it, and then they're saying you did help give some insight. Not saying that we answered their question fully, because I feel not all the time I feel like our questions, we answer our own questions. Yeah. But it's really awesome to see God using us as a tool to, help others. Because that's kind of that's kind of what the whole point of this is digital discipleship. Yeah, for sure. That was one of the few reasons why we started. We want to help people. We want to answer our own questions, all that stuff. Yeah. So I definitely achieved
most of that, I would say, if not all of it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's been really good.
Yeah, so season 2, it's going to be bigger and badder than ever. Well, bigger and better than ever. Yeah, no. Oh man, I'm excited for season 2. I'm excited for season 2.
Yeah, I'm really keen.
Yeah, and we got, in between there, we got some cool things going on as well.
Yeah.
Keep it on the hush hush. Little teaser for y'all.
Yeah, and hopefully we get some cool results out of that.
Yeah,
it's gonna be really awesome.
I'm really excited for that.
Keep your eyes peeled on our YouTube and our socials as well.
Yeah, definitely. So, today's topic. This is kind of one that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, but I've never really found the words to say it, and I'm still not quite sure how to title it. But we're talking about like growing up Christian, and I mean I feel like I say that a lot. Growing up Christian, like as a top point of discussion, but I mean literally like what our childhood was like growing up. And so I'm not kind of talking about what we've talked about in the past, society and the culture and all that sort of stuff. I'm talking like real close to home, very, very personal, immediate like social circles of your Christian life and how you grew up. And so if you don't mind me asking, what was like kind of your life like growing up in a spiritual sense?
Well, I had to think about this recently because a couple of weeks ago we actually introduced ourselves. Well, we did the welcome at that youth meeting we had about 2 weeks ago, and we were kind of sharing what the turning point was for our lives when we, I guess the question was when we decided that we really wanted to be Christians, I guess.
Yeah.
And I kind of had a brief. I shared with everyone there that I had a brief talk about the fact that I guess growing up I wasn't that committed. But I'll go into a bit more detail because someone actually mentioned this weekend that I could have talked for longer, but we had a time box around that, so we couldn't actually share for that long. But I guess this is the perfect platform to do that. So growing up, what was your exact question? Sorry.
So
I want to make sure I answer your question.
What was your childhood like, or what was growing up as a little person, as a little dude, to like you now? What was life like growing up spiritually?
Yes. So overall, I had a really good upbringing, I think.
You had a really what, sorry?
Really good upbringing.
Oh, really good, yeah.
Yeah, I think I said that. I don't know. Spiritually, I went to church every week, ever since I can remember, to the Polish church here in Adelaide. My parents were, I guess you could say, on the conservative side. We, did the whole turning off the TV at Sabbath. Basically, no games during Saturday and things like that. I remembered, basically spending time with family and at church lunches and on Sabbath and things like that. But like I mentioned, I guess as a kid, I think most of us don't really fully grasp the concept of Christianity and God and all that. I mean, it's really cool if you do, but my personal experience was, I believed it. I had no doubt that it wasn't true. I just, after, especially becoming a teenager and then finishing uni and all that, I've definitely developed my thinking and my understanding of Christianity a whole lot more. So it's been, I'm trying to say now that it's been a really awesome experience to do that. But back to the focus of the topic, how it was growing up. It was positive, definitely positive. I don't think people around me could have done anything differently, my parents or the church, or I think they all did a very good job supporting that. But I think, later on is when I really discovered for myself Christianity and like why I want to follow it and believe in it and keep going and things like that. Yeah. Does that sort of cover everything?
I would say that answers my question.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know. I think if my life wasn't the way, if my life didn't pan out the way that it did, then I don't think I would be in this position now.
Yeah.
But if I were to go back in time and say, actually no, I'll give you context before I talk about that. So growing up, I would say like my family was Christian. Seventh-day Adventist. We went to church and we do all those things, but I feel like we didn't really worship or, take the Sabbath or worship the Sabbath outside of church. We weren't... This is kind of hard because it's like yes and no. There were some areas where my parents were like, okay, no, that's not something you do on the Sabbath. So like watching movies, watching TV shows, listening to, normal radio and stuff like that. Like my parents will say, no, it's the Sabbath. Don't like watch that stuff, listen to that stuff. Yeah. But I guess the main thing was like my parents let me play video games on the Sabbath, which I guess I'm not sure if they really like, if they didn't mind me playing or if they didn't like it, but just kind of because I'm the youngest child, just over time things just change. Yeah. And so maybe they just were like, oh, all right, fine. Like, I'm not sure. Yeah. But I mean, looking back on it now, I wouldn't really, I wouldn't grow up. If I could go back in time, I probably would have tried to avoid video games if I had this cognitive capacity that I do now. Yeah. But yeah, and later on, especially like, I would say that as soon as I turned 10, I talk about this all the time, but like I started taking hockey seriously. And so I started playing sports on the Sabbath as well. And like, of course, like I love my parents and, they supported me through everything. But I was practicing on the Sabbath, like early in the morning before church. But then as time went on, it just would mean that I was late to church. Like I'd come halfway through the sermon. And so, as a kid, you don't really pay attention to the sermon, but I miss out on, Sabbath school and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And so like, I just kind of became less and less involved with church, and I don't know, like I definitely, like looking back on it, there's definitely a period in my life where I'm like, wow, like I said I was Christian, but was I really a follower of Jesus? And so, going back in time, I wish I was a follower of Jesus. Like I wish I was, I wish I did go to church every Saturday, and I wish I didn't play sports on the Sabbath and stuff like that. But I'm here now. Jesus still loves me. Yeah. So that's the most important. Yeah, that's the most important thing. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so there's two. I feel like this is specifically looking at Sabbath observance growing up. I feel like that is like the main thing. I say that because for me growing up, it was like Saturday was church day, and then the rest of the week was just whatever I wanted. Whereas now, like, I feel like, God and me are just going on all throughout the week. Yeah. Whereas, So, yeah, I get you. So I guess that's why I'm kind of really focusing on Sabbath observance. But I have two examples of friends. I will keep them nameless for the sake of this story. But one of them grew up in a household that was like super, super, super conservative. Like her parents, they didn't listen to regular radio. They didn't watch TV. If I do remember correctly, they didn't watch any TV except for Christian stuff, and I think it was, I don't know, nature documentaries. I can't remember exactly. Yeah. Probably David Attenborough, which is ironic because he's atheist. But anyways, different discussion. Anyways, different topic. And my friend told me that growing up, she had a secret radio. So what she would do is that she'd hide in her wardrobe, and she'd just like play it super low, the volume super low, and she'd just listen to it in one ear with like the door closed, so like her parents couldn't see her listening to a radio. And like I don't think that was her being rebellious, but they just wanted to, I don't know, listen to other music. Yeah. But yeah, when they turned 18 though, their dad said to them that like you're allowed to do what you want. You're an adult now. Like you're legally an adult, and I will treat you as an adult. But the reason why I guess I was so strict on you, I use quotation marks, is because like he wanted to do everything he could to like, show him a true Christian life. And like hypothetically, if Jesus were to come back to earth and like, for the second coming and stuff, then he could say to Jesus, like, I did everything I could to like give my children the most Christian life possible and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so looking at it from that, I really admire that actually. And,
Yeah.
you know, I've had conversations with that person and I've told them, I was like, man, like, I know like at the time it would have sucked. Oh, it would have been frustrating, I should say. It would have been frustrating.
Yeah.
But I mean, I kind of wish I had that upbringing, not going to lie. Like when I look at that person now, I'm just like, wow, like they are a real strong, like they're real like firm in their faith. They have a really wide understanding of like the world around them, like the secular world and the spiritual world. And
Yeah.
I really admire like who they are, and I definitely think like that is largely because of their upbringing.
That's, yeah. When you were explaining their upbringing, it kind of wasn't that different to mine, to be honest. Yeah, growing up, yeah, like I mentioned before, like no TV or radio except for basically Christian stuff. And to be honest, it was like as a kid, I think it was a little bit frustrating at times. As a kid, it would be. But it wasn't, from what I remember, it wasn't actually that bad. Like I actually really enjoyed just chilling.
Yeah, no, it's
and I appreciate it way more now. But even then, I'm surprised at myself. Even though I do specifically remember times where I just wait for the sunset to go down so I can play some video games with friends and stuff. So, actually, also I used to be in Pathfinders for a little bit, so there was Pathfinders on Saturday nights so quite often, which, to be honest, didn't fully enjoy a lot of the time because it'd be like Sabbath finishes and it's like, oh, now I have to go to Pathfinders as well, and then Saturday night I'm at Pathfinders. But yes, I think I had a similar upbringing to that, but it does sound like that person was being a little bit rebellious. It almost sounds like because if their parents came in, they were like, oi, like get off. You know what I mean?
It's like the Christian version of like picking up smoking to annoy your parents.
Yeah, almost. It's kind of like, yeah, like would you enjoy it that much if you were just trying to like hide it? Like, could you even hear the music
Yeah,
if it was that quiet?
Is it even worth it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really cool. I didn't realize that you had a similar lifestyle.
Yeah.
But let's look at the opposite end.
Yeah.
So I know another friend who is I would say is still Christian. They definitely believe in Jesus, and they definitely I assume they're still Seventh-day Adventists. Not 100% sure, but I mean they kind of, the way they explained their upbringing to me, they told me that their parents just like kind of not let them roam free, but they did just kind of, they weren't very strict on how they, followed the Sabbath or how they lived. And so their parents, they were just like, we love you no matter what. We want you to live this way, but we're not going to force you. Yeah. And so I guess they decided to do things throughout their young lives, especially like in their teenage years and their like very young adult years. They did choose to experiment and do stuff like that. And I mean, they still are. They still do follow Jesus, and they're still like a Christian, but like they didn't really grow up in a Christian. No, they did grow up in a Christian household, but it
wasn't as conservative.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was definitely very, very free thinking. I think is a way to put it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I want to talk about the pros and cons. Let's start with the pros on the conservative side. What are some of the pros that stick out to you? And you living that, you can attest to these pros. Yeah.
It's kind of hard to think about, like, to compare. Because I think the easiest way would be to compare, like, if I were to have a less of a conservative upbringing, what the difference would be. Kind of difficult to think about because I'm here now and I'm really committed. And so it's kind of like maybe the upbringing was the whole sort of foundation. So I guess because I am here now, because my parents were bringing me to church all the time, I was in that environment. I had good friends and family in that community. I guess the whole, I can call it the whole LA community of
Yeah.
Seventh-day Adventists and Christians in general. I think it could be one of the main reasons why I'm here today. So that's a big pro. I think a good foundation.
A good foundation. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like in the example that I gave specifically, like it definitely seemed like from the way they told me that like God was throughout their lives every day.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Like, I mean, I was missing out on that for probably like 19 years of my life, to be honest. But yeah, no, it was super cool. Like just the idea of like having God. Well, I mean, I'm living it now, but like having God in your life every day as a young child.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they start the day with, you know, like a song or like a prayer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, they'd listen to Christian music in the car and they watch Christian stuff on TV and stuff like that. So it's, yeah, definitely like the foundation and having God in their lives every day is just like such a cool idea.
Yeah.
Especially when, you know, Jesus wants us to have childlike faith. And
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds weird, but whenever I hear that, I'm just like, I don't know what that means, to be honest. I get the theory behind it, but
Yeah.
when I look at it from a practical point of view, I don't fully understand it.
Yeah.
Like to have childlike faith, because I was just like, yeah, I believe in Jesus, but I want to play video games.
Yeah.
So
I guess the whole simplicity, I think that's the key thing.
yeah,
behind
no,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Sorry, I should have said, instead of practical, I should have said like in a literal sense. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't get it, but
Yeah. Sorry. just
No,
just
you go.
quickly. I think just comparing for myself again, I don't feel like I had God in my life every day throughout the week. I think sometimes growing up, it would just mainly be on the weekends, like on the Sabbath. And then even as an early teen, I guess, I would start doing Bible devotionals because I knew it was a good thing to do, but I didn't fully connect with it.
Yeah.
So it took me I'm rereading this again, but it took me a while to actually start feeling it and sort of understanding the practicality and all that stuff.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
And I resonate with that. I feel like every Christian resonates with that though.
Yeah.
Like early on, they're doing this. Well, I mean, growing up, every Christian growing up, I feel like would resonate with that.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
they're,
probably.
like, you know, we've been told it's there, so we believe it's there, but we're not really experiencing it for ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I resonate with that a lot.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's look at like the cons of, I guess, growing up as a free bird. Let's call it that, as a free bird.
Did you have one to start off, or?
I think like I think it definitely gives you the opportunity to decipher the differences between right and wrong.
Yeah.
Like, and I think like, you know, in this situation, you are given the opportunity to make your own choices, which means that you have to live with your own consequences.
Yeah.
I guess those are two pros, but then you could turn that second point to like a con, because like, what if you did something really bad? Like, let's say you, I don't know. Oh, let's say you got a girl pregnant because you didn't fully, like, you weren't fully devoted to Jesus, and, you know,
Yeah.
temptations, baby, and all that sort of stuff. And like, you have to live with that consequence
Yeah.
of, like, you know, getting another person pregnant, or you're drinking and then you hurt someone, or you drink and you drive and you crash, and you drink and you get caught by the police and you're underage, and all that sort of stuff. Like, like you have to live with those consequences, and those aren't necessarily good ones.
Definitely not.
But yeah, so, I mean, I kind of thought there'd be more of a debate going on, but the more I think about it, I imagined more of a debate between like conservative to, what's the word? Help me out here.
Free bird.
Free bird. Conservative versus free bird. But the more I think about it, like, I think that, like, a conservative upbringing is a pretty awesome way to grow up. But the thing is, like, I would not know that growing up. So let's move into the con list of conservative upbringings. I think like it would definitely, there is the opportunity to be smothered by this lifestyle of Christian living. Like you're not given the opportunity to do anything and you may not fully understand why.
Yeah.
And so then it causes you to listen to a radio in the wardrobe. No, it causes you to rebel and or not causes, but I guess it may entice you to rebel.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
you're just like, I want to know what this is like. Like it looks so much fun and all that sort of stuff.
Definitely.
But I also think it shelters a lot of children. I mean, I think I was sheltered growing up, and I wouldn't say I was a super like strict household.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't know what it's like for you, but I can imagine in some situations where in some situations I actually do know, because some people have told me that the world around, they were not allowed to kind of look at the world around them because their parents were like, no, this is evil. Like you want to live this way. And so they have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. And that'll be really hard getting into, if that continues throughout, especially your teenager, then, getting in high school and then getting out of high school and then uni and work. I think from what I'm thinking about, that would be kind of hard to relate with people.
Yeah.
For starters.
Well, I don't think it's not very prominent in Australia, but in the US especially, it's because it's a much more conservative country. But, families are homeschooling their children for that exact reason. They don't want their kids to be influenced by the world around them. And those kids do come out sheltered and kind of weird, to be honest.
Oh yeah. No, when you mention that, I'm thinking of people that I know that have been through that. And I find it hard to relate to them back. That's what I was thinking about before. I think growing up in that environment, you would just compare, I guess, your house and church and then everything else as evil. Yeah. From what it sounds like anyway.
Yeah.
Could be wrong, but that's kind of what it feels like to me. Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it's a tricky balance. I'm just glad I'm not a parent yet.
Yeah. Gonna have to find it someday.
Definitely. Going back to kind of this wild child lifestyle. I like that. Wild child lifestyle.
There we go.
I mean, you would have kids going around doing things and they don't really necessarily know what they're doing. I mean, I guess that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about the consequences thing. They don't know what they're doing until consequences come.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, parents would be like, "No, you don't want to drink. Don't drink when you're underage, or don't smoke because it's bad for you and all this sort of stuff."
Yeah.
But I mean, even just other things that distance yourself from God. Can't really think of anything right now, but I guess a lot of kids don't realize what they're doing. And I mean, it also goes back to the podcast where we're talking about, being there for others. Their parents aren't there to tell them, hey, what you're doing is a sin.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be doing it.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And going back to your point before about sort of from my experience and having that upbringing, I think, what was my point I was going to make? It's coming. I was going to say that, I've lost it.
It's all right.
I've lost it.
I'll get back to you. Think about it.
I'll get back to you. It's almost there.
Well, even Toby that was on the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's a good example. I'm sure Toby consents to me telling the story and using his name. But I mean, his dad is a pastor, and his dad was like, "Hey, I believe this way. I hope you do too, but I'm not going to force that upon you." And I mean and I guess that was kind of Toby's life for a little bit. He was free to do what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then now he's decided to do chaplaincy in Avondale. I I think God definitely places the right lifestyles for the right people.
Yeah, and I remember it was almost 2 years ago now. I was at his place in Sydney, and he mentioned to me like he was already working as a PT, and he mentioned to me like, nah, I want to go do this now. So he's at college now, and that's where he's turning his life to. So it's awesome.
Yeah, and so I don't want people to think that I'm saying if you are letting your children or if you grew up like, you know, being allowed to do whatever you want is bad. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to like kind of discover or like journey myself through kind of like the different scenarios that came about.
Yeah. And my point came back to me.
Okay.
About my upbringing and sort of what you mentioned about maybe it might entice you to be a bit of a rebel. I think it did not too much, surprisingly, for me, like a little bit, but I think for the most part I kind of just stuck with it and just went with the flow. There was some times where obviously I was tempted, and then because you're right, because I didn't, in that environment you don't have the full understanding. I think the wrong environment. That environment's the wrong word to use, but just as a kid, you're just not fully. I could be wrong, but I think as a kid, you don't fully understand it.
Yeah,
you don't fully understand God and spirituality.
I mean, you're speaking that you're telling that from your own experiences. So I mean, no one can tell you that you're wrong. Yeah,
that's just how I felt. Like I was just going with the flow, and I believe in Him, but wasn't fully feeling it. Yeah,
no, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I have a friend who unfortunately doesn't really believe, I don't know how to say this, but like he doesn't know. He's definitely on like the I don't feel good in my life, so I don't think he's real. But I think there's still a little light left in him, so I'm praying for him. But he is like, I mean, he didn't grow up super conservative. Like he didn't grow up like no TV, no music. Like he was open to do those things, but he definitely feels like he was smothered as growing up, and so he feels like he can't, or he feels like I've lived this whole life. He says he's lived his whole life like not being able to do these things, and now that he's an adult, he's like, I can do these things, like all these things that I want to do. Yeah. And like, no one can stop me. And not that it's a rebellious streak, but he definitely feels like he was smothered, and like he wasn't allowed to do things that he considers fun. And so does he feel like that was sort of a negative thing, where if he sort of had more freedom in his upbringing, it would have been more beneficial? Or? I don't know. I didn't ask him that question. Yeah. Because the time was not right to ask that question. Yeah. But I feel like it was the kind of situation where, you know, you weren't told to do this sort of things, and then you do it and you enjoy it. And so he's like, I'm going to keep doing this. Like, this is awesome. Like, why would a God not want me to do these things? But like, I mean, there's certain they are activities that, I mean, are not going to be good for him in the long run. So you're not talking about just specifically on Sabbath, but just in general. In general, yeah. In general. So I mean, like, you know, partying and all that sort of stuff. Like, they're just like, this stuff is awesome. Like, I'm gonna do what I want to do because I enjoy it and it makes me feel good. Yeah. And I'm just like, damn. That's not, that sucks to hear, man. Yeah, because I feel like the next level of thinking of after that is like the consequences of those actions in the long run. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah. That's something to think about. I think definitely, if that's a way that you're thinking, I think just have a think about, or have a discussion maybe with friends, like, where can this lead? Yeah, maybe. Definitely. Yeah, that's really important. And I guess another example I have is I have another friend, same circle of friends, but like I had a real in-depth conversation with them, or like a real deep conversation with them, and they said to me, like, Ted, like maybe in like a few years, like I might start coming to church. I might take it seriously, but like right now I'm living my best life and I'm enjoying it. But he's doing things that I guess aren't necessarily healthy for him. And I think I did touch on this person a few weeks ago. I think so. But I mean, and he tells me that growing up, his parents didn't force him to come to church. Even in high school, like his parents went to church, but then he decided that he didn't, like if he woke up in time, he might go, but I mean, they went to bed in the early hours of the morning, so they probably missed it a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I guess like because his parents weren't necessarily like encouraging him to come to church, he's just kind of found that, living that sort of lifestyle is more enjoyable.
Yeah, which is sad to hear. Because, I mean, based on my experience alone, like, church has been such a blessing, especially the past few years.
And I've had to say that, I've said that to him, like, dude, like I love, I love being a part of the church.
Yeah.
Like not just going to the building, but being a part of the church, and the church is like the people.
Yeah.
So
I literally just posted on Instagram before this, like, I'm living my best life. It's like basically what the caption was.
Oh, nice.
So I'm really happy where I am at the moment.
Yeah. And I definitely, like, I would agree with you. I'm very much the same, and I definitely think that comes from like my relationship with God, which I guess was a step, like, with the events that took place that led me to God.
Yeah. Part of my caption was, I'm so thankful that I have a God who gives me more than I can imagine. So
yeah.
I'm really happy that I'm in a position to share that with people. So
yeah,
just top of the world.
So, I mean, we already did touch on this. So I guess this can just be a quick and easy answer.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time, would you live life would you want, and you had the decision to like live how you wanted to live, would you do anything differently, or would you kind of do it the exact same?
Well, thinking as a kid, I'm trying to put myself back.
Yeah, definitely.
However many years, and like just trying to think about what I would do as a kid. I think I would feel almost guilty. I think that's the kind of upbringing I had. Not the fact that like my parents made me feel guilty, but even if they let me do something else or let me be free, I think
you would feel okay.
I think
I get what you're saying.
Personally, it would feel a bit strange.
Yeah.
Because I know for me, Saturday was always felt like a little bit different, like special, and so it would kind of just feel odd. Even though I've been saying like I didn't fully connect with God. I didn't feel like I fully connected with God. I feel like it was something that you're not meant to be doing.
Yeah.
Even though now I fully understand why. Back then it was just like a feeling that I would have, rather than now I just have a full understanding of what I want to do and why I want to do it. I think it would just be emotions. So maybe I wouldn't do that much differently,
cool.
To be honest. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think could be different, but I think that's how it'll go down. Like,
yeah, no, that's fair enough.
Similar.
And I mean, I feel like this is kind of a pointless conversation because we are adults. But I mean, it is interesting to look at the different ways Christians are brought up. And to be honest, I think I would have, like I already said this, like I would have loved to have been in a household. No, let me rephrase. I would have loved to like grow up where, I mean, there were some restrictions on, I guess, the outside world, because I feel like a lot of the things that I was allowed to do on my own have kind of become, have kind of become like downfalls in my personality, or I guess some negative parts of my personality. Like I would say that, I mean, if my parents made me grow up without video games, I mean, probably at the time I'd be like, oh, this sucks. Yeah. But I mean, like, I think like when it comes to video games, I get very upset, very cranky very quickly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess that has put like this real bad spin on my competitive, or a real negative impact on my competitive streak.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I would have loved to have. It would have been in, like, looking back on it, it would have been an enjoyable experience to grow up in a dare I say more conservative household.
Yeah. Well, while you were saying that, I actually remembered, like peers in the church, like same age as me, sort of having even more strict of a household, where they weren't allowed to play games during the week. Is that what you were kind of referring to? Like,
I meant games in general, man.
in general,
In
yeah,
general.
yeah.
Like,
So that's what I've been thinking about now. Like, there was kids where they just weren't allowed to play in general, and then I would look at them as a kid, like, oh, that must suck.
yeah, I know, right? I
So-
was thinking the exact.
So
I was like,
that's literally how I felt.
I was like, haha, losers.
So yeah, I feel like well, as a kid you don't have that much freedom anyway.
Oh yeah, no,
you're
definitely.
restricted by obviously your age, so you can't go out and party and drink. But,
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, you're at home mostly before a teenager, definitely, and like, yeah, I think there's restrictions like that where you can't play games. That your parents wouldn't let you play games during the week, but I didn't really have that. And to be honest, I think that's why I really enjoyed my upbringing. Like, I had enough freedom to sort of, I
Keep
guess,
you at bay.
yeah, for the lack of better words, like explore, media and entertainment things that were cool and are pretty cool still. Like movies, TV shows, and I think obviously my parents still had restrictions on, like, just like most parents would.
Oh,
like,
yeah, of course.
Like on what you would watch, obviously. But they weren't as restrictive as some, definitely, throughout the week.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, when Saturday came, things were a bit different. So
Yeah,
we kept the Sabbath,
of course.
which is really cool.
Yeah. And I bet that'd be an awesome experience.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it.
You reminded me of kind of when I talk to kids at school, or like I overhear kids at work. Sorry, not school. I don't go to school. I work at a school.
Yeah.
And I overhear kids sometimes, and like the movie It, with Pennywise the clown and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like they would always be like, "Oh, I can't wait for It 2," and It the second chapter. I can't remember what it's called. Or like, "Oh, Pennywise, so funny." And then I'm just like, "Do you guys watch that?" And they're like, "Yeah, my parents don't care." And then I'm like, I 100%, like, I do not believe these kids. Like, sure, like, these kids are 10 and below, and it's like, no way they let their children watch that.
Yeah, unless their parents don't know.
Unless they do it in secret. But it's just like,
on like an iPad or something.
But I'm just like, no way, man. Like,
Yeah.
and they're just like, yeah, watch it at home. And I'm just like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Stop trying to look cool, man.
Yeah, stop trying to flex. You're 10.
Yeah, relax. And then like, you hear some other not nice things.
Yeah. Wow.
But
I feel like kids, the age where things are like okay to watch is getting younger and younger.
Oh yeah, and that is literally the same with anything. It's not just like movies, but I mean even like sexualization of anything.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, I used to always see this in high school, but it was like 12-year-old, or when I was 12-year-old, and it was like just High School Musical, everything, and then it was like 12-year-olds now, and it was like singing that Rihanna song. What's it called? It's like Sticks and Stones may break my bones, but chains and whips excite me.
Yes.
And it's just like 12-year-old, like me, 12-year-old High School Musical, and then 12-year-olds now, Rihanna.
It's a good comparison. Well, like even like advertising alone, like even if they're not seeking that sort of stuff, just they're getting bombarded by just the, like, I don't want to say media, but just the media platforms in general.
It's those dang Fortnite skins that are too damn sexy.
I've heard some young kids call those skins thick with a double C. No, someone even said thick with a triple C.
Oh, triple C.
Oh, I'm like, I haven't heard that one.
That reminds
I'm getting
me.
too old.
There's I don't know if he still is. I'm pretty sure he still is. But there is this 12-year-old that is officially signed to FaZe as a streamer, as a Fortnite streamer.
Whoa.
He is paid by FaZe at the age of 12 to stream Fortnite.
Is that even like allowed on Twitch? Like as a age requirement?
That's what someone spoke to me about. And I didn't really know enough about the situation. And to be honest, I still don't know enough because I don't care that much. But I just thought it was interesting to bring up now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did hear that like kids under 16 aren't allowed to stream. I think that's the guideline in Twitch.
Okay.
It might be 18. I'm not quite sure.
I thought it was 13, so you might be right.
Oh, maybe it's 13. I don't know. But anyways.
But even then, 12.
So the person said to me like, Oh yeah, and then Twitch found out, and so he got banned. But then I'm like, he would still be able to stream on YouTube or Facebook, like even Facebook. Facebook is starting their own gaming live stream platform, and so yeah, it's crazy. Fays are paying tweens, teeny boppers,
That's
to
crazy.
to play video games. It's actually insane.
Is that? I wonder if that's to like target their own age group.
Yeah,
or they're just more funny.
Or
I don't know.
To be honest, like I don't play Fortnite. I'm not good at it at all.
Either.
I played it for a little bit, sucked.
Yeah.
But he was pretty good. Like I can recognize skill when I see it, and that kid
Yeah.
was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was insane. Like he did a 24-hour live stream like a few weeks ago.
Oh gosh.
A 12-year-old doing 24-hour live stream.
So healthy.
I could. Man, I don't know if I could stay awake for 24 hours.
No.
But
no, definitely not these days. Not for me.
But I feel like we got a little bit off track there.
We definitely did. Good discussion though.
But yeah, it's just I guess like especially with the way times are changing. I mean, it's what we were talking about sort of is relevant.
Yeah.
Because through the way times are changing, like society are putting pressures on young people to explore more.
Yep.
And so I guess we as young adults and future parents, if we choose to be parents, have to kind of discern what is right and what is wrong for our children.
Yeah, I guess it's getting harder to do that, especially when, because as a kid for me, like I wouldn't have iPads. I didn't have a phone till I was, now that I think about it, getting a phone at almost 13. I think I was 12. Was pretty young compared to other kids. So it's definitely getting a lot easier for the kids and then harder for the parents to manage, especially if they want to keep the Sabbath and then all the rest of it, like keep the whole week godly.
Well, like especially when we, no PlayStation on the Sabbath, but now it's like it's no iPads, no phones, no mute, like no Spotify.
It's just everything.
There's a lot more where you can just be like no.
Yeah.
Or maybe some of that stuff is okay, man. Some of that stuff isn't, and like YouTube, like where do you draw the line on YouTube and like Netflix and all that sort of stuff? Like it's maybe it's a conversation that we should have in the near future.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just a quick note on that. I think when YouTube started getting bigger, when I was like a kid and stuff, I think it was almost like in your head, like, oh, YouTube's okay because it's not the TV.
Yeah, because it's not TV, exactly.
Yeah. Because we kind of just had this idea, like, TV's not good. And like Burn the Haystack was talking about the same thing.
Did they?
Yeah, it's a funny topic. Like specifically Seventh-day Adventists with that sort of thing, like TV versus YouTube. It's like YouTube's like, okay, well, what's the difference?
Yeah.
What is the difference?
Especially now, there isn't much of a difference. Like they both have their own. Well, I mean, when I say TV, I mean like. I also mean streaming services like Netflix and Stan because they stream TV shows and movies. And so when you put those two and two together, it's like YouTube has their own platform for streaming movies and their own exclusive content.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't say that stuff is very Christian-like. And even just like regular YouTube videos. I mean, I guess it's not the worst thing in the world to watch, a 7-second Vine that was from 2012 that is just so dang funny you can't stop watching it. But I mean, where do you draw the line and whether we should even launch that YouTube app or search it in the browser? Yeah.
Well, just to clarify, I was talking about just the Sabbath. So like for me, growing up, I was, consuming everything I wanted to do pretty much during the week, and then it would sort of definitely die down during Sabbath because to keep it holy.
Definitely.
But it's like we said before, I think it's probably more challenging these days. Yeah.
Well, I think we, even though we did get off topic, I think we did, kind of have some good discussion about it, and I want to know what the listeners think. I definitely, I'm not a parent myself. I don't know, I don't want to talk as if like, oh, I know what I'm talking about because I'm a young adult. I'm a young Gen Z. I know what I'm talking about. Because Gen Zs don't know everything. Same as millennials. We don't know everything.
Definitely not. Do not want to admit to that.
So let us know your thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, if there are any parents watching, I know there is at least one or two watching. Like, where do you draw the line with, like, I guess Sabbath observance or Christian lifestyle for your young children, would you say that you try and be more conservative, or do you give them the option to, do you kind of loosen the leash just to, let them, test the waters, or test the waters is a bad word, but just like let them make their own decisions on certain things?
Yeah.
Or, if you're not a parent, like what was your upbringing like as well?
Yeah. If you had a different, completely contrasting one to ours, we'd love to hear about it.
I really want to hear about it. But yeah, I think that's pretty good.
We're wrapping up our last episode for the season.
Woo!
Well, don't get too excited. We'll be back. How long have you been taking off? I think 3 to 4 weeks. Is that what we talked about?
Is it 3 or 4?
Maybe it was 2. I don't know. We kind of just had like a few weeks. That's my understanding.
We don't have a set schedule yet.
Yeah.
But it may also depend on I guess what happens in the season break.
Yep.
Kind of see where things go. Like I said, we have some really exciting things, but also we have an announcement to make. A good one. A cool one, I think. We are changing the name of the podcast.
Yep.
So do you want to tell them what it is?
Yes. So it's called The Journey Podcast. Well, it will be called The Journey Podcast as of next season.
Yes. Season 2, rebranding.
Yes.
Not that because we're not a part of Morpheville or MVC anymore. Like we definitely are.
Yeah.
But I think like The Journey Podcast really does kind of fit, what's the word for it? It kind of does explain what this podcast is about.
Yeah,
very well.
I was gonna say old, but like we've already switched. But MVC Youth Podcast, I don't think it doesn't show anything about what we're about. Yeah. Except for the fact that it's connected to a church.
Yeah.
And so I think the Journey Podcast really does fit the mold of our content a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. And we're so excited because we are going to start with a series next season, which will be exciting. I'm excited.
Yeah, no,
so
definitely.
It should be awesome.
So many awesome improvements and guests and I
don't want to get ahead of myself, but you guys do want to tune in, especially to the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Or maybe not during the break, but very much after, very soon after the break, tune in. There's some cool stuff that's going to go down.
Yeah. So make sure to subscribe. Don't think we don't even push that much, but I'm telling you right now, subscribe. So you get notified when we upload next, whenever that may be. Haven't got a date locked in yet, but it's very exciting stuff.
It's gonna be awesome. Yeah. Actually, we are slowly gaining more and more subscribers, and I think on YouTube. I'm not sure about Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
I'm slowly keeping track of the plays, but not the follows.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing more of the plays standing out to me. But
I do see. Yeah, the plays on Spotify are going up and up and up.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But I think it's just people going from YouTube onto Spotify. I think it's just a lot easier for people to listen on Spotify, which is perfectly fine and makes sense as well.
Yeah, for me personally as well.
But I am seeing notifications on our YouTube channel of being like, so-and-so subscribed, and I have no idea who these people are. And that's really cool.
It is really cool. It's not just our circles.
Yeah.
It's broadening out. So it's really exciting.
Which is, I guess, is why we kind of want to get more engagement, in the comments, and we want to get some emails.
Yep. Contact mvcyouth@gmail.com if you want to get in touch. For whatever reason, we can start a discussion. You can tell us we're doing a good job, tell us we're doing a bad job, whatever you want to tell us.
Yeah. And our Instagram is @mvcyouth, and our Facebook is MVC Youth as well, or is it?
Morpheville Youth MVY still.
Okay.
I think we're thinking about rebranding things as well on that side as well. So
let's just rebrand everything at Morpheville.
Yeah, you'll just see everything change.
No. But yeah, thank you so much for the people that have supported us. It is actually amazing how much support we've got, and I was actually blown away after the first episode. I was blown away by how many people were tuning in, how many people were personally messaging me. I'm not sure about Paul. I'm sure people were messaging you too.
For sure.
People were personally messaging both of us at the same time.
Yeah, the amount of group chats we have, we made a joke about it. I can probably go back to 20, with us two and then the other person telling us something.
But it is so amazing. And
I'm
so blessed to, be given the opportunity to be put on this platform.
Yeah, for sure.
And talk to and have these conversations, because these conversations aren't ones that we always have. Not sure why. I feel like Like we don't necessarily need the mics, but
No.
I mean that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, and it's good to hear that we're actually benefiting people. So that's why obviously for you as well, we really want to continue it. So
yeah. Thank you
Awesome.
so much, everyone.
And join us on the journey next season.
Yeah, season 2. Whoop, whoop.
Thanks for listening, guys.
All right, bye.
See you later.
Like it's like hypothetically, Frida. Someone comes up to Frida and they're like, "Hey, let's do a bottle-o and we'll like promote Jesus." And then Frida be like, "Oh yeah, that's a really cool idea," and like say it's cool just to please them.
Yeah.
And then we can